we're better businesses today. We're better than that. And all of you are the ones that represent those companies. So I'm going to turn it over.
All right. My name is Bert Hara, and I work with Destination Education. And the central question before us, if I remember right, is business owners, heroes, not heroes? Do they have an obligation to give back to the community? So a lot of my heroes are business people, people like Noel. Even though I never met Louis Padnos, just that story is incredibly inspiring to hear that. My dad was a business owner. He is one of my heroes. I was just with him last month. I spent a week with him. He had surgery, and it was good to be with him and to remember at that kind of important time of his life what he has achieved with his life. My parents were born in Mexico City. They moved to Tijuana, Mexico, where they used as their base to come and work at first in the country illegally, like a lot of people from Mexico in their early stages of life. But they legalized their status, got married, and my father went to work for an auto upholstery business in Los Angeles. They recover seat covers, that kind of thing. And so my father wanted to own his own business. He had a very entrepreneurial spirit. He was the one in the family who came across the border first of all his brothers and his sister. And he went to the bank and he said, "I'd like to borrow $500 to start a business." The bank said no. In those days, people were very prejudiced. They didn't see Mexican Americans as capable of running a business, so they told him no. He waited a few months so they wouldn't remember his face, went back to them and said, "I'd like to borrow $500 to go on vacation." And they said, "Sure, here you go." They gave him $500. He quit his job and he started his own business in Orange County, California. Roberto's Auto Trim Shop is still there to this day. My cousin now runs the business, and a couple years ago he did Nicolas Cage's boat. He's done all kinds of people whose names you would recognize. Very well respected business, quality business that he started. But like business owners, had to make a lot of tough decisions. My dad had to fire his own brother at one point. Things that were very, very difficult. But yet he used his position to bring his own brothers to the U.S. and create opportunities for many people to come to the U.S. and get established. And his feeling was that he wanted to pay forward the blessings that he'd had in his own life and help others experience that. And so people like that are heroes. Early business, Noel talked about how we've evolved. In early business, people like Carnegie, in my opinion, he achieved incredible things, great things. He was a visionary. People who are visionary usually accomplish great things for good and for bad, okay? Hitler was a visionary. Alexander the Great, Caesar, these people all, and they did things that were amazing, but some of them were incredibly bad, too, you know what I mean? And so Carnegie had vision. He moved the country forward. He moved industry in a way that was good and has brought many positive contributions to our lives. But he also was very selfish, and I guess I see that as an evolutionary step, hopefully, to where we are now, where we have people who have learned from his vision, his techniques, his ability to see the future in a way that many of us don't. Who would have? I never imagined when I was growing up that we would carry computers in our pocket. You know what I mean? Or on our wrist. Exactly. You have to. So people like Steve, they have the ability to see something that nobody else sees and make it happen. Carnegie was that. Noel did that with his business. Louis Padnos did that when he was collecting. So these people, our society needs them. But I am thankful that many have evolved to the point where they do it in ways that are selfless. Now, I'm not saying that people like Noel or even myself are completely selfless. We enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? You know what I mean? I ride a Harley. You got this beautiful, what's the name of that car?
Ooh, I got the Dodge Hellcat.
The Dodge Hellcat, you know what I mean?
Nikes.
Yeah, exactly. So we enjoy the fruits of our labor, but I'm also thankful that Noel cares about the community. He gives much financially. Now, Carnegie did it more toward the end of his life because people hated his name, and so he thought, he'd get names built after him so they'd remember his name, and hopefully think some good of him. But people like Noel give now. They give their time. I don't know of too many business people that would give a whole day of their time to help shape, help shape your life, help give you something to profit in your life. And so, you talked about your business, about how you recycle. So many people, they just want to make the money. The coal companies that strip down the top of mountains. If you Google it, look at the pictures. It's distressing. It makes me cry when I look at it, literally. But there's people like Noel and the Padnos that recycle, that do business in such a way that it is good for the community and good for the environment. So the question is, do business people have a responsibility to give back to the community? Yes, but that is all of our responsibility, not just business people, every single one of us. We are not in this life to be selfish. We are to take care of ourselves and to become independent, but we can't, I just believe part of my upbringing, because I'm very spiritual, I used to be a pastor for 20 years, I believe that we exist not just for our own good, but for the good of the community. And so we try to raise our children that way. I know your parents. I know Joe and Francis. And part of the reason you're a giving person is because they were. They had a vision for the good of the community, for good. And so they pass that on to you, and you do business in a way that has a conscience, that has compassion, and cares about justice. And so we pass that on to one another. The whole nonprofit sector is based, and I think the business community and the nonprofit social services sector works well hand in hand in reminding that it's not just about money, but it's about the good of the community. And so we have a trust really by the community to do our business as a nonprofit organization, to do business in a way that is good for the community. So, we have choices too. We can do things, we can be very popular by just handing stuff out. There's a lot of demand, just give me stuff. Give me food, give me clothing. Sorry, I move around a lot, I'm kind of hyper. So, so when I worked for a nonprofit called Latin Americans United for Progress, and we had a fight the first couple of years that I was there. Because I said, we can't just be about helping people, so people come in, we translate their letters or make their phone calls in them because they can't speak English. We can't just be about, handing people stuff. We should do that because people need it. They have immediate needs. When you're hungry, okay? So it's valid to give people a fish in those situations. But we also have to teach them how to fish, how to take care of themselves. So we were very, very intentional about saying, we're going to help people, but we're going to do everything we can to help them take English classes, to learn how to use a computer on their own so that we don't have to sit there and hold their hand all the time and do things for them on the computer when they have to apply for a job or something. And so offering citizenship classes so that people could become participating members of the community. And we weren't just giving them things, but helping them participate. We took a lot of criticism. There were letters in the newspaper that said, LAUP, the organization I was the director of, they don't care about people anymore. You go in there and you ask them for help, and they just give you a piece of paper and tell you to take a class. That was not true. We always helped people. We never turned away people with needs. But we would hold out also that we would highly encourage people. You can't make them, but we'd say, please, consider taking the class. We have this class available. We'll sign you up. If you don't have the money we'd ask $5 for it. If they didn't have the $5, we wouldn't even charge them the $5. But we felt it was not just about giving people fish, but teaching them how to fish. And so that organization continues to do work. I've moved on to another organization called Destination Education. And it continues to evolve in the nonprofit. The way that businesses evolve and do things in a new way to meet needs and to drive up outcomes for the welfare of the community continues to change. And so we live in a world where there's traditional nonprofits now, that the Boys and Girls Club, there's there's Community Action House, there's all these organizations, and there's a lot of organizations and institutions that help you get an education. The problem that we are attacking at Destination Education is that there's a time coming where more and more people are going to need training beyond high school, not just four-year college, but two-year degrees. They need to gain skill in the skilled trades, go to technical schools, and we're out of balance. We don't have the right kind of workers that our society is going to need. We don't have people who are able that have the skills, the problem-solving skills, the initiative. And so we're attacking that problem, and we realize that no one nonprofit can do it by themselves. And so we're a different kind of nonprofit that is working to bring all of the pieces together. We work with the schools, with higher education, with businesses. That's part of why I'm here today. We work with the nonprofit organizations that work with youth. We work with the government and say, okay, what role do we all play, parents and even students themselves, so that we're not working on these problems alone? Because what's happened is the schools have worked by themselves, the nonprofits have worked by themselves, or maybe they pair up, but we recognize this is a really complex problem, and we're not going to close this gap in achievement. The problem is, in our community, is that the people from the main culture, that tend to be the white students, are achieving at this level. They're going to college, they're becoming successful, but Latinos and African Americans are achieving at this level. It's a problem all over the country. And we've got great organizations, but the organizations aren't working together, and our only hope for raising the achievement of this group is by bringing the organizations together, the African American groups, Latino groups, and learning what we can from each other, contributing just the way we are today, working together, nonprofit, business, K through 12, seeing more of this happen in the community so that more and more people can be successful and make intelligent decisions about their higher education, get there, get the help that they need, and then succeed. So it's another evolution in the way that not just giving people a fish, not just even just teaching people how to fish, but now working together as a whole community. And it's a tough job. It's a new, innovative thing, and that's always a difficult thing to do. So we continue to evolve, even as a nonprofit sector, again, for the good of the community and not just for the good of individuals. So I think I'll just leave it at that. We've got about 10, 15 minutes for questions. So I'd love to hear what you guys are interested in.
Questions?
Come on.
You gotta help your essays out.
I know you're not shy. Do you need to text it to me?
About anything that we've talked about, anything that you're curious about with regard to future employment, the topic, the paper, anything anybody mentioned. I know you got to have questions.
There was one of the other classes that came in, we had a 15-year-old that was asking us about a job. He was asking about, where can I get a job? At 15, it's kind of hard. But when you think about it, it really isn't. You can make probably about $150 a week, and all you need is a rake.
And I know the first house you can go to.
Yeah. There's a lot of senior citizens out there right now that they can't go out in their yards. They can't. I did that when I was 12 and 13 years old. I used to have 20, 25 houses. I made some darn good money when I was 13, 14 years old. So if you want to make some money right now before even that winter time, borrow Dad's snow blower and go to the senior citizens and snow blow their driveways for $10, $15, $12, $15.
Shovel like we did in the
Shovel
old days.
the old days, yeah, you can make money. I mean, you don't have to wait to go and work somewhere else. It's really funny. We were talking the other day about, people, they don't like working at fast food restaurants, flipping burgers. Flipping burgers is not beneath us. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow and advance. What you guys need to start doing at your age is to start developing a work ethic. Because a work ethic is something nobody can take away from you. That is yours and yours only.
And it gets people.
We talk about branding, right? I mean, the brand names, Nike, right? Apple, that's a brand name. Well, what's your name? Amelia? Brand Amelia. You gotta brand yourself so that when you need to make your presence felt when you're gone. So if you're in a room or you're in an organization, and let's say you moved on to a different organization, people will look back and go, I remember her. I knew what she did. That's your brand. You need to develop your brand.
I got to tell you a story. It was branding that got me on the female sections of the dormitories in college, and I'll tell you how. Because
Now I am in HR.
I was my first job in college. I was on work study. I had to work my way through college, and so I was pretty unconfident. Didn't have a lot of confidence, so I thought, here's all the jobs, cleaning bathrooms. I can do that, But it wasn't beneath me. I wanted to get. So I started cleaning the men's bathrooms in my dormitory. And my parents had put in, I grew up with parents like yours. They give you a work ethic, You better work hard or you're going to get it. So, I mean, I rolled up my sleeves, and I didn't even know about gloves and all of that stuff, but I got into the toilets and I was cleaning them, and I mean, they were filthy, and there was brown stuff all over them, and I mean,
Look at the faces.
yeah, I mean, I cleaned, and so the R&D came through and go, wow, these bathrooms haven't been cleaned like this in 5 years, and they're like, okay, you got the job, you're going to clean the women's restrooms, here's a sign that you can hang in front of the door when you're in there, because they wanted them. But you know what, I did that for about 6 months, and then I got another job working in an office. But you just got to throw the ego and pride aside, and just, you're going to do what it takes to get through college and get through work. If any of you watch Channel 8 News, Leon Hendricks, who is the weekend anchor, he's like one of my sons, okay? And he was working at Applebee's as a greeter, the people that seat everybody. And I remember one of the customers, they accidentally threw their retainer got thrown in the trash. And so they said to Leon, go to the dumpster out back and clean it. He says, I refuse to do it. I'm not going to do that. That's not in my job description. That's not what I get paid for. And I took Leon aside. I said, Leon, if you want to be successful in life, nothing is beneath you. Nothing is beneath you. You've got to be willing to do the dirtiest job to get to the top. And I think all three of us would believe that. You've got to work hard where you are, develop that work ethic, and do what it takes to get there. There is nothing. You're a director like a nonprofit. You do everything. You clean the toilets. You do the, you do the tax. Everything.
I've heard it said too